Hello everybody. I want to talk today with you a little bit about your feet. So our feet are so important when it comes to propelling us through the world, finding our ground, helping us feel stable and strong. And our feet also have 28 bones and 33 joints, which makes them very articulate, just like our hands. But we don't use our feet in the same way that we use our hands. We put them in shoes and we clop down the street, oftentimes not really fully getting movement through all of those 33 joints. So today, let's look at how we can mobilize our feet better to build more strength, power, and stability. We're going to start by finding a support bar or a wall, and we're going to stand in front of that, stepping 1 foot back. I'm just going to place the other foot in front with a bent knee, so I get a nice angle all the way down to my heel. My heel is on the ground, my hips are facing forward as well as my shoulders. And I'm going to let that stretch come into my calf, come up my Achilles with a few breaths. Then I'm going to press into my toes, lift my heel up, and reach the heel back down. I'm going to do that several times, trying to bend at the base of my toes and then stretch the heel back and down. I'm looking for a sense of pumping in my calf and pumping in my foot to get more depth to my calf stretch. And then we'll just do that on the other side, switching legs. Start with the calf stretch, just taking a moment, making sure you're not leaning your body forward. This isn't the same. I want to keep a nice diagonal from heel to head. Making sure that you're breathing. And then lift and lower your heel up and down. And then come back to 2 feet. Next, we're going to come to standing. And we're going to take a look at our feet here on the floor. I'm going to see if I can find parallel feet. I'm going to roll to the outer edge of my foot and then down into the big toe edge, bringing my weight inward to the inside. And just rocking back and forth. If you need a wall or something to help you feel stable, you can do that. But just noticing, do you like to put more weight on the outer edge or the inner edge? Do you like to collapse those arches, or do you like to roll them out? And that's going to tell us a lot about how we stand on our feet and the weight that we bear into our feet. And then next, after you've done that, maybe you've done that a few times and it feels a little more level between the inner and the outer edges. And now just rock into the toes and the heels. So I'm shifting my weight forward, I'm shifting my weight back. As I do that, I'm getting more weight on my toes and then my heels. Again, you might notice, do I put more weight in my heels or my toes more often? Maybe one does something and the other does the opposite. Maybe one side does the toes, one side has more weight in the heels. But you could even do that for fun, like rock weight into your heel on the right foot and the toes on the left foot. Notice how that rocks your hips a little bit too. Then just come back to center. See if you can feel the even weight between inner and outer edges and toes and heels. Can you actively press into those contours? Then we're going to bring a foot forward. So I'm going to angle a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just bringing one heel to the ground with my foot flexed up. I want to make sure it's not just my toes, but my foot that's arching. And then I'm going to rotate to the outer edge of my foot and come back to that original place. And then I'm going to try to get the inner edge of my foot without bringing my knee across, which is harder. I'm moving from my ankle back to flexed ankle, and then I'm just gonna go back and forth, breathing, and trying to articulate this movement like I did when I was standing on both feet. But doing one foot, just finding that range of motion, that side to side. Always coming back to center with that centered ankle. And then come back to center, standing on 2 feet. Notice the difference. Notice if you feel one foot, the foot you just moved, a little more clearly. And then we'll step the other foot forward. Same thing, finding the outer foot, touching down, and the inner foot. If this feels really hard, do not worry. You might put a little pillow underneath the foot so that you don't have to come all the way down to the floor. You can tap the pillow, the towel, or something else that's possible to put underneath. Do this several rounds, 10, 15 times. Looking for your range of motion. So I'm not trying to cheat and bring my knee across here. This is harder for pretty much everybody to get that big toe down. And coming back to center, back to 2 feet. See if you feel that inner and that outer edge more clearly. So let's do one more together. Come down to the floor with me, and you're gonna hook your foot over your knee. If you prefer sitting in a chair, you can do this on the chair as well. But I'm gonna place the opposite hand as foot on my heel, and the same hand as my foot on top of my foot. And what I'm gonna do is just take a little twist. So what I'm doing is I'm twisting them away from each other and toward each other. Kind of like I'd be twisting a doorknob. 2 doorknobs away from each other and toward each other. Now I'm not squeezing and yanking on my foot. I'm being very gentle. I'm even letting my hands slide over my skin a little bit. And I'm just going back and forth really gently to waken these joints, especially in the center of the foot, around the arch and around the heel, that tend to fall asleep, to get buried inside other movements from the toes or from the knee. And I'm just massaging and gliding. You can let that go, and we'll do the other side. So same thing, taking the opposite hand as foot to your heel, same hand as foot to the top of your foot, and I'm just gonna glide back and forth, twisting and untwisting my foot. Not only am I getting movement to my foot, but I'm getting movement to the heel joint, which, yes, we have a separate heel joint from the toes and from the center of the foot. We're also getting some movement that's going to encourage more mobility in the ankle. So again, do this several times. This can be done for a full minute, 2 minutes, whatever you have time for is perfect. 15 seconds can go a long way. Whenever you're done, let that go and come back up to standing to test out and see what it feels like. Ooh, my feet feel so good now. Perhaps yours do too. Maybe they feel a little more sense of rootedness or spreading. Maybe they feel a little more lift underneath the arch. Try this one more time where we come in the outer edge and the inner edge of the foot. Maybe that's gotten a little bit easier. Coming back to your feet. Notice what feels different. So I hope you had a nice time with me working your feet, getting them more mobile, juicy, and able to stabilize you. I had a great time with you, and let me know how it goes if you have any questions, and come back for more anytime.